Let's become more familiar with this present moment, with this now. To become more familiar with experience and consciousness. The experience is made of your 5 senses. The experience before 5 senses is the present being. And the experience also includes this environment, all these forms and all these spaces. And that is what is being experienced. This is what makes your experience. And this experience is witnessed to be happening now, to be happening here. And it is witnessed in awareness. It is witnessed not in the observer, not through the process of observation. It is witnessed in your awareness. So we may say that there is present experience and there is awareness. And when these two merge together, it becomes the boundless consciousness. Your experience has a certain stickiness, we may say. The experience may have a certain pull into the lower forms, into emotions, into surface thoughts. And the thoughts are little bubbles on the surface, in the ocean of energies, emotions and feelings. The ocean is made of emotions, energies and feelings. All is energy actually, vibrations. And in order to go deeper and not only to realize the depth of consciousness, you need to swim through this ocean to clearly see what it is and to gain some immunity from the tendencies, from the stickiness of experience. So the very first thing that you need to realize, that thoughts have no real essence in themselves. That emotions, feelings are more substantial, they're more real, they're actually being felt in your body. And when these thoughts subside, emotions, feelings become available. And you become present with your emotions and feelings. You become present here. But this presence here, being present here, is positional. Because it is you being present, and then it expands into presence, being present. It is a certain field and space. And the presence itself is not the answer, it is the field and space. So you realize that that is the experience, being present with emotions, feelings, energies. And your experience is not excluded from environment in which you are right now. Because in consciousness, nothing is excluded. In consciousness, there is no inside or outside. There is no physical or spiritual. There is no inner world and outside world. There is no inner universe or outer universe. How can you separate? They are inseparable. Everything is inseparable. But in your experience, in your individual experience, you have a feeling of separation. And this feeling of separation seems to be real. It seems to be real. It is experienced. It's a feeling. It seems to be real. And if you give a moment just to feel that it seems to be real, the inside and outside, or any separation with anything, it just seems to be real. It's a grand illusion. It seems to be real. And it's not like you will wake up and you will be somewhere on another planet. You will be right here where you are. Everything is gonna be exactly the same. only the experience that seems to be real, that it's separate. That is realized and recognized to be as simply another feeling. And just like your anger and your sadness some years ago, what seemed to be totally real, and you were so identified with your story of your sadness and your story of your anger, a feeling is no different of separation. It has its own story too. It's just a bit deeper. It's just taken a bit more for granted. So when you empty yourself from feelings, you don't become a robot or anything like that, you know. You're still a human being, but you're simply not attached to those feelings, no matter how seemingly real they are. And for the person who is identified with anger, the reality becomes such. And for the person identified with separation, the reality is still experienced through that sense, through those lenses. So these feelings and senses seem to be real. But upon closer look, upon closer inquiry, you see that that's not the case, that they only appear to be so. And therefore, consciousness is the clear seeing. And this clear seeing comes by recognizing that feelings have colors, that deep assumptions have their projections. The biggest assumption that you are this form and what is external is separate. And that is the original separation. The assumption of a limited position, a limited self, and defending that limited position, the limited self, is called the ego. The ego is only defending that, denying that, pretending. That is the ego. The nature of the ego is contraction and attachment to that contraction. And that's called identification. That there is a certain contraction and there is a certain attachment, and that becomes a point of reference, which is called identification. So you will recognize that there are many emotions, feelings, assumptions. It is a vast ocean of many layers, many streams. And there is a tendency to focus, contract, identify. To focus, contract, identify. And you will say, well, I was born like that. Yes. And that's how the mind has built up its structures, conditioning. There is a focus, contraction, attachment. Desire comes in the middle because desire simply wants it to be this way or not to be that way. It adds another layer of suffering. It wants it to be this way or to not to be this way. Even what you don't want is also desire. And you need to see the both sides of desire, that it pulls you to the left or right, to what you want or what you don't want. And when you come to the neutral position of neither wanting nor not wanting, to this neutral position, then you can meet what is here, a certain feeling, emotion, energy. And this is how you become present. This is how you become present. And becoming present is just halfway through. It's a half journey. Becoming present is the right relationship with what is here, but it's half journey. Because who is present? What is presence? What is the nature of presence? And the key question is, are you aware of presence? Yes, you are. You are aware of your being. You are aware how still and peaceful you are. You are aware of how disturbed you are. When you're deeply present, you're so balanced. You know, you're so balanced, so peaceful, so being. But the thing is that you are aware of this very balanced being. And therefore, the key to self-realization is the very first step to the real self-realization. Is to go beyond energy, beyond feelings, emotions, thoughts, forms, shapes, spaces, dimensions. And what is the key to all of that? To go beyond all of that? To go beyond experience. What is the key to go beyond experience? Is awareness. That is the key. And that is so easy to verify. This truth is so easy to verify is because you are aware of experience, no matter what form it takes, no matter how deep it goes, no matter how blissed out you become. You are aware of yourself being blissed out too. And that's just another experience to be blissed out for a while. So enlightenment is not about maintaining the blissful state, because there will be certain effort of maintenance. So this awareness of experience becomes stronger and stronger as you stay as awareness, as you see the experience, as you investigate the experience. The experiences, of course, are infinite in their nature. Awareness is just one. So therefore you stay aware of experience, you investigate the experience, you see how experiences is attracting you, you see how experience becomes sticky with you, you see how experience pulls you into the experience, how you get pulled into emotions, how you get pulled into your feelings, into your thoughts. And that is the crudifying force which pulls you in. A crudifying force. There's a force of action that makes you do things, that makes any action to be done. And then there is the balancing force, which maintains a balance, peace. But that is still experience. These three forces still make every single experience. The crudifying, the action force, and the balancing force. They make up your experiences. And therefore, yes, you need to dedicate, you need to become stronger from the crudifying force, because you will be sucked into your emotions, feelings, and energies. Or you will be spacing out, left and right, up and down. And all those spiritual experiences, you know, like feeling your energy centers and having these kundalini sensations and energetic sensations and going into spaces and at the same time blissing out is what I call side effects. They're side effects of your returning to the natural state. All these altered perceptions are also side effects of your returning to the natural state. And the natural state is very natural. And there's a difference between being a normal human being and being in the natural state. That's a very, very big difference. So therefore, expanding your awareness, gaining strength of your awareness is the key. And when that merges with what is being experienced, that transforms into consciousness. So therefore, there is a very good practice to ask yourself, what am I aware of? You can also make a statement that in my awareness, I see this and that. In my awareness, I'm aware of this. And you will surely have a certain sense to say the word I, I feel, I see, and so forth. But in this practice, I invite you to make a statement in my awareness. I see this and that. Not I see this and that. In my awareness, I see this and that. You see, immediately you start to disidentify from this position of I. So in my awareness, I see, I experience, or simply there is something happening. And let's stay together here in this awareness with this experience. And we will have an amplification together to transform it into consciousness. Let's take a few moments to slow down your experience. When you slow down your experience, it's easier to go to awareness. Allow everything to be as it is now in your experience. Any feelings, emotions, energies, don't resist them. Allow. If you resist any feeling, it will keep your focus. When you allow, it opens. And this awareness is bright and loving. bright and loving awareness. This awareness is unconditional. It allows your experience to be like this. It is an unconditionally loving experience, unconditionally allowed. It is a bright and loving awareness. And this experience is unconditionally allowed. And this awareness and experience together is the boundless now. It is the self. When you're ready, you can slowly start coming back. Lovingly aware. Lovingly aware of this moment. And releasing any position, fighting external or internal conflict is a certain position, and defending that position or resisting the injustice. Resisting the injustice keeps injustice. Allowing the injustice helps to transcend it, to gain wisdom, to go beyond it. When there is fighting, there is always two sides, and there is always lack of mutual understanding. That would be external circumstance. But even in the external condition, injustice is still fought within. And when you are in the internal conflict, that person is no longer there. But the fight is still happening inside. So there is a certain resistance and a certain position. And softening both sides of resistance of something bad and position of something right, softening these two parts allows you to go beyond them, to transcend both. The position of right and resisting the wrong. So everyone can see that holding a certain position is always limiting. The ego is defending a position, denying the truth, protecting that position. And awareness is neutral. Awareness is unconditionally allowing. It is not concerned with experience. And when this final resistance with experience is transcended, that becomes one consciousness. So there is either resistance to what is happening, or there is a certain control and wanting to make it different. The feeling itself, the desire itself, it already has a trace. It already has an element of what it seeks for. But the desire itself, it has only partial fulfillment. It has a part of it. And yes, you may find exactly here, complete, fulfilling. Because desire says, I want. And you look past the desire and you say, it's already here. And to understand desire, it's good to understand wanting and not wanting. They're both desires in two directions. You are actually always abundant. Because you say, I have desire. Aren't you abundant with desires? You see how full this now is? You say, I have resistance, and that is also abundance of resistance. You say, I have separation. Amazing. You have abundance of separation. You say you have things you don't want. Well, you have them already. I find generally that people have so much. They simply have so much of the lower vibrations. It's always abundant. Lower or higher vibrations. And then some confusion arises, which is abundant with questions. That is why consciousness has it all. It's not resisting anything, literally. Resistance is included in consciousness. Everything is part of the package of now. You have it all already. Desire included. Wanting for change included. This is how close this now is. Even the next is included in the now. And then you will realize how much you have. I have too much. Can't handle it.